How disputes and appeals work in escrow transactions. Escrow protects both buyers and sellers. But what happens when things don't go as planned? This tutorial explains how disputes and appeals work on Xedlapay and how we ensure fairness and transparency on both sides. When does a dispute happen? A dispute is triggered automatically when a buyer receives the good and service, but instead of approving, the buyer clicks reject transaction. At this point, the transaction enters dispute mode. Once in dispute, the chat system is activated inside the app. This allows the buyer and seller to communicate directly. Here's what can happen in this chat. If both parties reach an agreement, the buyer may choose to release the funds or request more time, and the buyer can extend the deadline. If the buyer insists on returning the item and the seller agrees, the buyer must return the item. Once the seller confirms the goods, the funds are reversed back to the buyer. If the buyer and seller cannot reach an agreement, the buyer can tap appeal. Once this happens, the Xedlapay dispute resolution team steps in. We review the full transaction history, chat logs, product details, photos, and timestamps. This process takes between 1 to 2 working days. After review, our team will decide who is rightfully entitled to the funds. The money will be released to the buyer or seller, depending on the findings. This ensures fairness and protection for both parties. Xedlapay doesn't just protect your money, we protect your trust. With features like automatic dispute activation, in-app chat for resolution, fair appeal process within 48 hours, you can trade with confidence. A little tip: always describe the product or service clearly. Upload photos and chat respectfully. It helps a lot during disputes.